Hey guys, what is going on? Daniel Childs back here again. A little bit of Chelsea news for you today. Want to react to some of the headlines around Stamford Bridge. We're going to be talking about Enzo Fernandez. His season is over thanks to surgery. And then the future or lack of future at Stamford Bridge from Mauricio Pochettino. Before I get into that, watch along. I did my first one, which some of you joined because I did promote it on my YouTube channel before the game. And what a first watch along to do for the Arsenal game. Going to be doing another one this weekend. Aston Villa away, 8 p.m. kickoff, starting around 7:45. And I do want to say that really excited to get this going, and especially on TIFO, I think it's going to be a great platform and just an environment to speak about things maybe I don't speak on during videos, some non-football things. So if you want to join it, really cool if you can. Link in the description box below. It's free to sign up for TIFO. It's a new football streaming platform. Not just myself, but other creators of other football clubs are on there doing their watch-alongs. But yeah, we want to build a Chelsea community, a very cool Chelsea community on there. And if you're interested, want to join me for the watch-along, free to sign up. Use my referral code CFC, and that's how you can sign up and join for the watch-along this Saturday. And in time, of course, I'll be announcing when I'm doing other watch-alongs because some games I'm obviously at. So we'll let you know in time before those games. But let's start off with Enzo Fernandez. Reports came out of Argentina this morning, and it's been confirmed now by the likes of Matt Law and others that Fernandez has made a decision to undergo surgery on a hernia problem. His recovery will take about 3 weeks, which basically means his season is over. Not that surprising given things we've heard about Fernandez's fitness for months and months now. I mean, maybe I'm wrong on this one, but it feels like he's had some form of an injury issue for a while now. And if it's bothering him that much, and there were people talking about how he didn't look that right against Man City at the weekend and then was barely relevant for the game against Arsenal, it's the right time for him to make that decision, because the longer you wait, the worse it could get. And just putting it off and off, it potentially could disrupt next season if he put it off any longer. So I hope for Enzo's sake, he recovers well. We need to be in a year's time in a position with Enzo where he is one of Chelsea's unequivocal best players, not in glimpses, not in flashes. I feel like I'm living Groundhog Day because I've said this about so many players in recent years. And sure, we can talk about the club, we can talk about Pochettino and the system, but Enzo Fernandez is clearly a very talented footballer. I just hope that he can become that and show that on a very obvious basis for Chelsea moving forward. I do think, just on a side note, and I'll talk about this in my Aston Villa preview tomorrow, but for me, Connie Chukwuemeka has to be playing significant minutes now. There's no excuse now because there's such a lack of options in that area. Whether we see Hugo Chukwu before the end of the season, not entirely sure. We're not seeing Romeo Lavia. So even if it means that Conor Gallagher has to drop into a number 8 position, I want to see Chukwuemeka play more because there's now a role for him to play. We have to talk about Mauricio Pochettino. So the briefing has basically been since Tuesday's embarrassment at Arsenal that he ain't getting sacked like today, tomorrow, from what we know. Now, I will say that could change, and it's quite fun. At times, this ownership, not intentionally, but the way they brief things and how those kind of accounts and stories look very silly very quickly is, assured that Pochettino's remaining in his role at least till the summer, and then you have the Arsenal performance. You're going away to Aston Villa, who are chasing down European football, that could be another really, really damaging night for Pochettino. And then home to Spurs, his former club, which we know for Chelsea coaches, when you lose that game, if you lose that game, how damaging it is, especially if you lose it at Stamford Bridge, because so few Chelsea coaches in recent memory have done so. I believe Antonio Conte is the only one in recent memory. So it's dangerous territory for Pochettino. But apparently, according to Nazar Kinsella, Chelsea players themselves don't want Poch to lose his job. The young squad apparently appreciate that Pochettino has shielded them from criticism and worked to foster a team spirit in a group of players from different countries. And many players accept they're frozen under pressure and struggle to adapt to the Premier League. But Matt Law reports that there are top coaches who would be prepared to succeed Mauricio Pochettino and would be excited by the challenge on offer at Chelsea. So, Xavi is obviously now staying at Barcelona. It looks like Slot is going to be Liverpool's first choice. So some of those options that have been talked about in recent months could still be available. I do think Man United will likely be in their market as well. I'd be quite stunned if Erik ten Hag keeps his job at this point. So there are clubs out there. Of course, we know Thomas Tuchel is available. We know Jose Mourinho is still available. We know Ruben Amorim is still available. Until Pochettino is sacked, it's not that we can't have that conversation, but as I said in my Arsenal review, and I'll keep on saying this, and this gets to some of the other reports that have come out today that I have to respond to, regardless of sporting directors and the lack of clear pressure on them, because they have constructed this squad. They have been given a lot of power. And my question really is, there's going to be accountability on Pochettino's head, and I don't think that's wrong. If he doesn't get European football, I don't think he can have any complaints about losing his job. But where's the accountability on those above him, those who appointed him, those who basically gained so much power to construct this squad, a very unique football experiment that isn't working out? And it doesn't look like there is much, because David Ornstein reporting that he's not aware that Chelsea are looking to change their recruitment model at all, but conversations will take place between the head coach, sporting directors and ownership to try and ensure the improvement they and the fans expect materialises. He also says that Chelsea's best player this season has been Palmer, and he is 21. Another standout performer has been Gusto at 20. So you could argue it's not really about age and experience, it's about how good you are. That's not a ridiculous point, in the sense that, like, at times in the Chelsea squad, when I look at players like Silva and Sterling as older players, they haven't really provided the output you'd expect. It's not binary. It's not you're the age of 30, so your experience, you can be trusted on a consistent basis. You're 20, you can't be trusted. That's a simplistic way of looking at this, and it's nice spin, but it doesn't really account. You can look at Palmer and Gusto, sure, have been two good players this season. Palmer, the exceptional one. And I'd throw Jackson in here too. But those are the exceptions, not the rule. If you ignore the rest of the squad, you can make that argument. If you ignore what happened on Tuesday when both of those players, Palmer and Gusto, were not available, you can make that argument. That's not simply the point. It's about balance within a squad. It's about cohesion within a squad. It's about maturity. And it's also about the scale of upheaval we have seen at Chelsea in such a short period of time, and the collateral damage that has had on the club in a variety of ways. But if you're just looking at the first team squad, so I think that's absolutely clear. And I think it's a dangerous situation we have if those sporting directors are not held accountable, if there's no pressure on their jobs after this season, if Chelsea fail to get European football. Because my worry is, if you sack Pochettino and nothing else changes at the club, is it effectively gets sold as Pochettino is the problem. Pochettino is the one who's ruined this project. He's the barrier to our project. I'd like to think if they make that decision and we bring in someone else, they're proven right, because it means Chelsea will be successful and we'll be happy again. Of course, we all want that. But the evidence in front of us doesn't really indicate that. And it's kind of just digging and digging and digging over and over again. If you have a lot of power but not of accountability, that is a dangerous cocktail. And I think that is something that we really have to be concerned about. And it's scary, right? That it's all right if Pochettino loses his job, but if the people above him have made reckless decisions and they don't face any accountability and they think everything's fine, and I keep on saying this, it's like the chain of command and the culture you have in your club is if the players, the young players on long contracts, are being told everything's okay, even if they are failing, if the people who are constructing this squad are being given a lot of power and they're being told everything's fine, the project is fine, where do you think that leads to? At the very least, it leads to complacency. It doesn't lead to high standards. And it's my concern. It has been my concern for a while now. So Pochettino can be the first out the door, but I don't think he should be only one out the door. I don't think this summer goes swimmingly for Chelsea if we just go in with the same mindset we had last year. And that's just one part of the issue at Chelsea Football Club. Like, that's not even addressing the PSR. That's not addressing the injury issues. That's not addressing what type of coach you'd look to replace Mauricio Pochettino. What type of coach are you looking for? What type of football are you trying to produce? These are things that are unclear. And I think that has to be kind of clarified. And I want to make this abundantly clear because, some people maybe reacted to the title of my Arsenal review. They reacted to the tone of my Arsenal review. And I've seen it when I've been highly critical. Listen, like, I'm not here to be dishonest. I'm not here to tell you everything's okay when it's not. I'm not here to be ultra negative when I think things are positive. that's a waste of time. Like, you can get, if you can't stand any criticism of the club, go and watch official channels. I'm sure you'll find many Twitter accounts and maybe some YouTube channels that will give you that. If you just want to hear everything's perfect all the time, fair enough. If you just want to hear negativity all the time, trust me, there is like literally a sea of content out there for you. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to give you my honest opinion. You can agree and disagree with it, fair enough. But me being negative after us getting absolutely embarrassed like that against Arsenal is not unfair. It's not hyperbolic. It's not irrational. It is the reasonable expectation all of us have that our club doesn't get embarrassed against very bitter rivals. It's the culmination of a lot of things. I don't want to repeat myself from what I said on Tuesday. Please go and watch that review if you haven't already, and I thank those who watched it and enjoyed it and gave their thoughts in the comments as well. But if Chelsea win on Saturday, I'm going to be happy. But let's not get away from the fundamental issues. My whole point is, if the system's broken, there's only so much you can do to get round it. And that may mean that good individuals like Malo Gusto and especially Cole Palmer can bail you out. But that's not a sustainable idea for creating a successful football team. That's so clear. That's so evident. So it's these things we're going to keep coming back to. And I'm not going to be fooled into... I mean, maybe their targets for the summer surprise us, right? But I think we have to be like cautious in going... with the dopamine hit of potential transfers of thinking, oh yeah, this is perfect again. This is Chelsea are now going to go on and do amazing things, because we've been burnt so many times. And I want to also like make it clear that to me, it really is a case where changing head coach sure may give you the pound of flesh that you want, but there has to be an honest and very detailed conversation about what's going on at the club that has led us to this place again in potentially under 12 months with Mauricio Pochettino, who only got appointed last year. This time last year, we were sat here thinking we can't allow 22-23 to happen again. And it hasn't been as bad as 22-23, but the same end point of no European football is realistic. Again, I think Pochettino should hold a lot like blame for that, but he shouldn't hold all the blame for that. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below, and I'll see you again very soon. All the best.